Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the GSD show. Today, I've got an incredible guest. Her name is Alexa Zimmerman. She is a senior account manager here at Loud Rumor, but she has been crushing it with some campaigns. We're gonna be talking about specifically what is working so well in marketing today for fitness studios, advertising, how one of the studios she's working with signed up 86 members in like a month during COVID. And on top of that, what does he look at? What's his mindset and how does he handle the marketing and the sales strategy? What other lines does he have in the water? All of that stuff. So we're excited to dive in. Alexa Zimmerman, welcome to the GSD show.
Thank you for having me, Mike. I'm so excited to be here today. And really how we got here today, I cannot wait to tell you this, how we got here.
Well, how did we get here?
So, Mike, the past 2.5 years, you've been asking me the same question. You asked me when I had 2 members. You asked me when I had 20, 2 months later. You asked me when I had 50. And this question has followed me this whole time until about a month ago.
I have no idea what question. And I've asked you how many times?
Oh, you asked me every couple of months.
Really?
Out of the blue, just out of the blue. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I'll know once what you say. What did I ask you?
Who's my favorite member?
I like asking that question. Yes.
So that question is such a hard question because they're all my little babies. How do I pick my favorite member? And especially when you just have 2 and you're brand new 2 members.
Yeah.
And then when you have 50, I mean, there's so much going on. How do you pick just one? And so after you ask me that question, I spend the next 2 months thinking, why did I say that person when I have all these other people that do amazing things and have different traits that make them so great too. And my answer was never the same person. I don't think I ever said the same member twice to you. And this past month, I came to you just boasting about this member, and I said, I think they're my favorite member.
Really?
And now we're here today.
I love it. Okay, so I do remember you calling me and saying, hey, I think they're my favorite member, and I like the guy too. I got a chance to talk with him. So this is Mark Fisher, right?
Yes.
Okay, and the name of his fitness studio?
Mark Fisher Fitness.
Yeah, and he's in New York.
Yes, New York City. Now, I feel bad talking about my favorite member. I love all my members so much. So I care about all of them. Now, this is just, I think, what we mean by favorite member is, what is he doing that makes him so great to work with and so easy and do so well.
Yeah, and I think that's an important way to look at it too, because favorite doesn't have to do with his personality or his character. I mean, that's almost impossible to choose because everyone's unique and cool in their own way. But just like any business should do, a fitness studio, anybody here watching, same thing, you guys should do it too. If you could take someone and multiply them over and over and over again, if you could, and have a bunch of people that have all of those things, which one would you do it? And maybe there's 10 of them, maybe there's 5 of them. And so really, Mark Fisher just checked off a lot of boxes for you in regards to what he does and how he does it and how he responds to feedback or suggestions or advice, right?
Right. I mean, in the intake, it looked different than a normal intake.
How so?
So, there are things that people will say here sometimes, every once in a while, they'll say, I follow Mike. I watch the GSD show. I'm like, okay, good. We're already there. Now, I have to tell you this. Somebody the other day not the other day, it was a couple months ago, during their intake, they said, I just listened to the GSD show. And I was like, oh, cool. I listened to it for 5 hours on a road trip. How does that make you feel, Mike, that someone listened to you for 5 hours?
I drove to California with my wife, and it's about a 5-hour drive, and I think it took 30 minutes for her to tell me to shut up. So more patience than Marjan, for sure, which is cool. That's awesome. That's really cool. Okay, so now with Mark, he came in on the intake. He already watched the show, and what was it that was different about him? Because obviously he's a 7-figure guy, isn't he? His studios do, like, I think when I talked to him, $2 or $3 million a year, maybe even a little more.
They do well.
Yeah.
Yes. So he said things that you say, but he was saying them as his own.
Okay.
So for example, right off the bat, he let me know I'm ready to spend. If I had $1 million today, I would put that $1 million into advertising if I was going to make $1.1 million back. I think that's a really big statement to make. Well, first my ears perked up. I was like, I've heard that before. Mike says that. But to say, you know, how many people really would invest $1 million if they were handed it today into advertising, if they were going to make $1.1 million back? I think that says a lot about where the value he sees in advertising.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people, they see it as an expense. And it is an expense because it's on the expense line on your income statement when you're looking at your numbers at the end of the month. So it kind of messes you up and it starts making you think like, oh, it's another expense. But in reality, it's one of the necessary expenses that actually drives the top line numbers up, the revenue numbers, and then obviously the bottom line is improved with that as well. So, okay, awesome. Well, so Mark Fisher already came in at level 100 already, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And so we get their campaign live, and you know, this relationship is still very new. He said these things that, you know, got me listening, got my you know, attention. But I still wasn't so sure because, you know, the intake is a lot like an interview. You can be really good at them and then not, you know, follow through. But not even a week after launching his first campaign, he sends me an email. The subject line is advertising greatness, another thing that I think you have said before. Yeah. I open up this email and he has a whole, it's a huge email, and it talks about all top of the funnel content strategies.
Okay.
So brand awareness strategies, different retargeting strategies that he's interested in or wants to learn more about, or get my recommendations on and start implementing. I mean, we're talking about 10 different campaigns running in addition to what he already has. We're already running 2 different offers, which is 2 different campaigns on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google Display, and Waze.
Right.
And so now he wants to add all of these additional things. So I get this, and I'm like, does he really want to launch all of this at once? Does he really have is he ready to invest that money into all of these things? So actually, I showed you this email, Mike.
And I said, we can do it, but it's going to take a lot more time than one client normally takes us. So see if he's willing to pay for 2 or 3 clients worth of time so we can get it all done for him. And what happened?
He said, yep, let's do it.
Yeah.
And we started doing it. So
really quick, one thing I want everybody to kind of hear that was interesting. You've heard, if you've listened to the show or watched the show at all over the last year or two, you've heard me say the importance of the owner, the CEO, really understanding marketing to a decent level. And that's something that, you know, you hear me talk about. Elon Musk has never spent a penny on paid ads, but he understands marketing very well. He studied it. Steve Jobs, Richard Branson, all of these guys, every shark on Shark Tank, if you pay attention, Mark Simonis, they have a really good grasp on marketing. And so what Mark did is, Mark didn't do what a lot of amateur, you know, business owners will come and say to us, right, sometimes as clients, which is, how do we get the numbers up, right? That's one thing. Mark goes, hey, these are all the different things that we've already been doing on our own, or these are the things that we were considering doing. How can we play these into our strategy? And now it wasn't just this random thing like, how do we get more leads? It was like, hey, we have some top of the funnel stuff. We have this, we have that. And you probably enjoyed that conversation because it was probably like, it's like when you talk to somebody that has the same interest as you, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's because not a lot of people are ready to invest money into brand awareness campaigns. They want to be able to see the leads coming in from their campaign, and that is not what the brand awareness campaigns are. It's harder to track return on investment, and there's not a physical lead coming in. You can't have that happen with that sort of campaign. So brand awareness campaigns are not everybody's first choice when they come and work with us. It may be something we add down the line and we start pitching a month.
Because you want that instant gratification.
Yeah, exactly. But he sees it differently. And he understands the value that those brand awareness campaigns are going to have, not just on the current campaigns, because ever since we added the brand awareness campaign, we've had 5 more leads coming in from every campaign a week.
Walk me through that, the brand awareness campaign. Everybody listening right now, maybe 20% of them are like, I know exactly what that is. Maybe another 10 or 20%'s like, I've heard of that term, but I wouldn't be comfortable talking about it. And then everybody else is like, what's that? So Give me an example of the brand awareness campaign Mark might be running.
Yeah, so for example, we have one campaign that is warming up our audience at the very top of the funnel. So in simpler terms, people who don't even know who he is, they may not even be really interested too much in a fitness routine right now. So the coldest kind of lead, we're getting in front of them. And so the idea of this is to start warming them up. So then now we've engaged with them. They've engaged with us. If they stop and look at it, we have that person in our funnel. So now we can serve them the lead generation campaign. They start seeing our lead ads for a free class or a free work or whatever, and it increases the chance that they click on that. Now they know who you are. So
the conversion rates, which means the
become
cost
higher
per lead.
Yes.
So the idea is you take cold audiences, you warm them up by showing them something that isn't just like, hey, come buy from us, or hey, get this free week. It's more of a helpful video or something insightful or entertaining or something along the lines that'll make them stop and watch and get the brand triggered in their brain.
Yes, but you can also do the opposite, which we are also doing. We have a brand awareness campaign going to their current members.
Okay.
So it's also the opposite. It's a retention sort of, that's what we are doing with this other brand awareness campaign we have going on.
Yeah, it does make you feel good to see your company that you chose, their new things they have going on and stuff like that as well, especially if you have opportunities to upsell them, cross-sell them, or tag friends that you want to get referred in and get them into the studio as well. The branding campaigns, I think what a lot of people don't realize is that there's so much more valuable than just going lead gen. So let's say restaurant. If you saw an ad for a restaurant that you never heard of, and then right next to it there was another ad for a restaurant that you've absolutely heard of. You may not even have been there before. So this one's called Phillips Steakhouse, the other one's called Ruth Chris. They might actually be as good. In fact, Phillips Steakhouse might be better than Ruth Chris Steakhouse, right? You don't know because we never heard of Phillips. But this one says, let's say, dinner for two for the price of one, and this one says dinner for two for the price of one. One is, oh look, this steakhouse is having a deal. The other one's, oh, that Ruth Chris place is having a deal. It's different. And so if you're able to show an ad, a lead gen ad, from a company that's actually already familiar to you, you're much more likely to be interested in taking that offer seriously versus if it was a random company you never heard of that was doing this random offer. And that's the idea. Right,
exactly.
So what kind of stuff does he have in there?
We'll use posts that in ads that he's already made that have generated a lot of engagement already. And so we'll just take that post and use it as one of the brand awareness ads.
So something he organically posted.
Yes.
And an example of that would be what? Like what would be something that he might have posted that did really well with engagement?
Yeah, so they have testimonials, a lot of testimonials, and they've posted those organically. They also have like wellness advice or nutrition advice. And different things like that, or videos of just quick tips for working out at home or to get active, or just quick little stretches from your desk.
Now here's the cool thing about it. Because you're taking an existing post and you're putting money behind it to run it, that post already has engagement. And because of that, anybody that's looking, there's studies out there, it shows a post that has no engagement or like one like versus a post that has a bunch of likes and comments and shares, I'm more likely to watch this because there's social proof that tells me it must be good or interesting.
Right.
And so you're more likely to engage, watch longer, do all that. So you take ones that have already engaged, you put money behind those, and then that improves the engagement numbers because the engagement sold people on engaging, which is interesting. And now because there's more engagement, Facebook or Instagram finds it more valuable as a piece of content. So they actually show it more at a lower cost, which means your cost per impression, the cost to show the ad, is a lot less. And if the cost per impression is less, obviously the cost per click is going to be less, the cost per lead is going to be less, and down the road, the cost per acquisition of getting that new member is going to be less. So that's the idea.
Yes.
Right? Man, that's pretty cool. Did he realize how much money he was going to have to spend on this stuff? Because you can't just do, this isn't like $1,000 a month.
No.
Yeah, so like what kind of money do you think someone has to spend in doing a campaign like this, an ad spend, in order to really get the most out of it?
And so that's a really good, interesting question, a good question, because this is not the kind of person that comes around very often. I'm not used to somebody, ready to spend that much money. So I'm giving recommendations within these limits, thinking I'm restricted, because that's what I'm used to. So he told me right away, actually, whenever I was playing it a little safe on the ad spend and like, hey, if you can spend this, and using words like that, he said, let's pretend that money is not even a question. Just how much would you recommend I would spend on all the platforms we're on, all the brand awareness campaigns? How much would you recommend I spend per day on all, or just overall, on all of that? And I was like, okay, I mean, if money isn't a question, this is how much.
Yeah. And what would you say the total sum of that is? What would you say, 5,000, 7,000, 4,000?
In ad spend, I think we went with around like 35 or 4,000.
Okay, so a little over $100 a day, possibly about 120
Oh
bucks
yeah,
a day.
we're spending $100 a day or a little bit more.
Yeah, that's really cool. And what platforms is he on?
Facebook, Instagram stories, YouTube, Google Display, Waze,
Okay.
and TikTok.
Really?
TikTok.
How's TikTok doing? Is it doing okay?
Yeah, so it's definitely, we've only been testing it for a few weeks.
Okay.
We've only tested with a few different members. But so far, the engagement on the TikTok ads are so high. I mean, we're seeing one point and above click-through rates, or 0.9%
Really?
click-through rates. We're getting a lot
Click-through
of
meaning
clicks.
to go to the landing page to learn more. Really? That's pretty interesting. And so with YouTube, with Google Display, those are the brand aware. That's really good for brand awareness. You're going to get leads too, but talk to me the difference between the responsive and the disruptive advertising styles. YouTube obviously being more disruptive, and why? And then, those are disruptive. But then there's search. Search would be more like Google AdWords, organic, that kind of stuff. So,
Right.
So what's the difference between these two here?
Well, first, I know we've always referred to YouTube and Google Display ads as brand awareness, and that's how we've really pitched them. And getting a lead is a bonus, but I wouldn't even pitch them as that anymore. Specifically Google Display ads. We've been bringing in a lot of leads at a low cost per lead with Google Display ads.
Really?
Most accounts are only spending $3 or so a day on Google and YouTube, and we're bringing in a few leads a week. I mean, that puts us at a very low cost per lead on those platforms. So if we had more ad spend to put into these platforms, I think we would get even more leads from them.
So the idea is getting people to spend more in those areas, like Mark's doing, for example. Yeah, and so Google Display, for anybody that doesn't know, I want you to imagine you went to Google and you typed in something like how to make a spinach quiche. It doesn't matter what you type in. How to jump higher, how to run faster, how to get better sleep, whatever it is. All those different options that come up that you can click on. Once you click on them, you're probably on some sort of article or blog that you are learning. If you notice, there's always those banner ads on the top, on the left. Maybe you could put some examples of it on the screen of Loud Rumors banner ads so you can see what it looks like. And so these are all Google Display ads. Now, you may say, well, why would Loud Rumor promote on a page about how to make a quiche? Well, we don't care about the page. In fact, Alexa, let's say you were recently looking at getting a new apartment, and I was recently looking at joining a gym. Because of our search history and our interests, we can both go to the same article about how to make a quiche, but the ads that you see in those spots are all about apartments that might be available and looking for new tenants. And I see the same spots, but my ads are about the gym membership local. So really, those ads are dynamic and they change depending on the person that's on it and what they've shown interest in and where they've been in the past. And so what you do is you're using retargeting. Anybody that's landed on any of the assets, like the landing pages, or the websites, or commented, or did any type of engagement, you're taking those people, putting them on a list, and now we're running ads to them again. So when they're checking out how to jump higher, run faster, sleep better, how to make a quiche, no matter what, they're going to be able to see our clients' ads right on that article.
Right, and that's not. There's a whole another piece to it too. We're also having those platforms talk to Facebook and Instagram through the retargeting ads that we have, an audience we've created on YouTube and Google Display.
In what way? How does that work?
So taking the landing pages that we are running ads to on Facebook and Instagram and adding them to a retargeting audience in YouTube and Google Display. So it already has this list of people so it hashes all the data.
Right.
But these people that now Google has access to, that we've shown these ads to, and so it's tracking them, through Google Display now, and it isn't even. We can create lookalike audiences through these people as well, but we also have retargeting audiences from people who have visited that quiche website and did pay attention to our ad over here on that quiche website. So we have that person in our audience now, and that audience I can also show our Facebook and Instagram ads.
Right. So as long as you drive traffic to an asset that we can pixel, put codes on there, I can now show you, I don't care where you came from, but whatever got you here, I can now get you everywhere else too.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. Okay, awesome. So every location's a little different. So when you said, $100-some a day, there's locations, I know like Austin. Austin has like a reach of 200,000 people when I last looked for this one guy that I'm friends with. But then you got places like Prescott, Arizona that's got like a reach of maybe 15,000 for a right demographic. So how does that play a role in how much somebody's ad spend suggestions might change on your end?
It definitely plays a role, because what we don't want to do is oversaturate their market, and especially really quickly. I mean, we want to be running campaigns all year round, and if an offer is doing really well, we want it to last, as long as we can, ideally. So it really depends on that potential reach, and in general, we see that $33 a day on Facebook is a good amount to spend on just Facebook ads for one group of people. So if we're just targeting females on Facebook feeds, let's spend at least $30 a day on those people.
Right.
And then if we also want to target males, let's spend $30 a day on those people. On Instagram feeds, 15 to 20. Instagram stories, 10 to 15. And that would be like the starting point. And then as we gather that information and data, and we're tracking that frequency, which is going to play a big role in how much we should be spending, we can make adjustments.
And here's the thing, like advertising has a price, but it doesn't have a cost. The only time advertising costs money is when you don't do it, right? Well, when you do it, advertising has a profit, not a cost. And so how can we get the profit as quickly as we can? So let's say, between the agency fee and the ad spend, everything is going to go into it. Let's say your budget's $3,000 a month, right? Which ends up being about $100 a day, right? Well, and sorry, that's going with our recommendation, right? It's $100 a day. But let's say you were like, oh, you know what? Let's just spend $20 a day. Okay, well, it's not that you can't do that, but let me tell you what happens. It makes it longer for this advertising to be profitable. So if let's say you go, okay, every member is worth, let's say to me, $150 a month. That's what a member pays me, $150 a month. And so if, let's say I'm spending $3,000, that means I need 20 clients, right? That's basically what you're looking at. What we could say is, well, what if we front load? $20 a day over 5 days would be $100. What if we just spend $100 a day right now? If we spend $100 a day, could we possibly, depending on your reach and how many people you can advertise to, but if you're in a place that has a decent reach, you can spend $100 a day, no problem. Can we generate the amount of leads we'd get in 5 days in the course of one? And now if we can, now in 2 days and in 3 days, have we gotten enough leads and opportunities to where we can get members that can pay for the marketing for the rest of the month? So rather than say, hey, I've got a $1,000 budget for the month, just say, hey, I got $1,000. And then you can say, someone like you, right, can go, okay, based on that and look at the reach, I recommend spending that $1,000 in the next 6 days. I think you could do it. And if they do, could they get what they would have gotten in a month in 6 days? And if they do, well, great. Everything you just gained in that first 6 days can help pay for you to keep it going either at that pace, a little less, or maybe even a little more. And at that point, marketing is free. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. I do think there's an important piece in there that I think it needs to be mentioned a little bit, is campaigns may not, right when we launch a new campaign, it may not generate the results we want in that first 5 days. It may not generate the results we want in the first 2 or 3 weeks. There's a learning phase that we all have to go through. Not just the ads, but I have to go through and look at what is going to perform well. It's really a science and a lot of reading into these metrics and testing a lot of different things. And so we have to be patient. And the longer that you can run an ad, the more we can learn what is going to really work well for us. And that's going to change when we switch offers as well. We may have to use a completely different videos, different images, different things may work in that campaign. So that just is something I wanted to add in there.
Well, it is important. I mean, advertising is complex. There's a lot of little pieces to it, and between the ads, the offer, the creative, the copy, the landing pages you send them to, the thank you pages, the automated email, automated text. There's so many different things that you can test, but the problem is you can't test everything at once, because if you do, you don't know what thing actually worked. So if you change everything and half of those things were great, well, now you change the things that were great as well. But if you go, okay, let's see, where along the chain are we missing things? So it looks like it's costing a lot of money per click or per impression. Okay, why is it costing us so much per impression? What's going on with this ad? Is Facebook not liking some of the stuff that we're doing? What is it? Now, if we're paying a lot per click, it's like, okay, what is it about this ad that people don't like? What is happening? Are they not liking it? Is this not engaging enough? Are we losing them? Is it taking too long to get to the point? If it costs good amount of money per impression and good amount of money per click, it's good, but the cost per lead is too high. All right, what's going on the landing page? Or is it the offer? What's happening here? How can we make this more engaging? And you just kind of keep going down the road, but no matter what, you got to test a couple things at a time. Are we going to test the headline? Are we going to test the image? Are we going to test the video versus an image? So, and obviously we worked with thousands of studios now, so for us, we have a good instinct as to what's going to work, but I mean, at the end of the day, we're still going to be wrong at least half the time, and then get it right over the next couple, and then we're there.
Yeah, I mean, and I would say the whole year we're testing and learning what is going to work for you in all these different times of the year. And I just spoke with somebody last week. We are now looking back at this time last year that they were advertising. What were we doing? What did work? What didn't work? And so we have a good starting point this year.
Right. That makes sense. I like that. Yeah, and on everything, offers, headlines, because I see a lot of times every morning you guys have a huddle, and I jump in every Tuesday and Wednesday, and you guys have what can we share, and you guys share things that are working across different campaigns in different industries,
Yes.
or not industries, but silos of the fitness industry. All right, let's go to what's exciting to people. Mark Fisher. Okay, we're doing all this stuff for him, but how's he doing? He's spending a lot of money. He's got a lot of stuff working at the same time. So talk numbers. You said earlier it was like 86 members he signed up, right?
Last month he did 86
86
new members.
And they're at least $100 or more every member, right?
Yeah.
And so what does that look like on the way there? So how many leads is he getting per week or per month, and however you're measuring? I know every client likes to see it in a different format. Closing, cost per lead, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so we like to look at the past 7 days and at the month to date as well. So if we're averaging about 20 leads per week, we're happy. If we're getting about 30 leads in the past 7 days, that's a really good conversation. For them, we want to be hitting that 20 leads per week.
Yeah. What's the cost per lead?
$25 per lead right now is what we're averaging. Keep in mind, we're running a paid offer for the virtual program. Okay. And we are also running a campaign for their semi-private training, which is more of that personal training.
Higher end.
Yeah.
So you're willing to pay more to get a member because you're getting paid way more to get a member. Because the private training not only is higher paying per month, but they have way better retention rates, private versus a group.
It's also harder to advertise for personal training, and that's something we haven't fully
gone into yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very difficult because everyone's so different, and also people have this stigma about personal training that it's expensive.
Yeah.
And it can be, but it's depending on your goal and how much you really want it, right? A lot of things that are expensive, but if you really want the thing to be done, it's not that expensive to you.
Yes, and I've worked with personal training studios before. I've ran a lot of personal training ads and campaigns, and we've never been too happy with results. But the difference with Mark Fisher's campaign is he's willing to run a free offer with it, and that's something a lot of people are not willing to do for
free personal training session?
Free personal training session with the bonus of a second personal training session if you give us a call today.
Yeah, you know what? That does work, and a lot of people don't like doing that. That's how I did it. I built up, a lot of you may or may not know this, but I had a personal training company before Loud Rumor, and I gave away a free session. I mean, worst case scenario, I got to work on my pitch with a real person. And the free personal training session could only be a half hour, because the way I would structure it is, if I can feel like this is going in the right direction, I'll take an hour. But if I feel like it's not, well, then I'll cut it short and I'll do what I've got to do, and then I'll move on to something else throughout the day.
Yeah.
So that's good. So he's doing a free personal training session. And it looks like, well, if you're getting 20 leads a week, that means he's getting 80 plus members, but 80 plus leads, but he's signing up 86 members. So that's because he's got other lines in the water. Right, which is something we always talk about. So what kind of other lines in the water does Mark have?
Yes, he has big email campaigns going on to all their prospects, all their current members, referral programs going on. And in all of those emails, they're sending people to a landing page, and in all of the text campaigns. So they use Infusionsoft for all their email campaigns, similar to what we use.
Yeah.
And I believe Text Magic for all their email campaigns or text campaigns. And so their follow-up is really robust.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get him on the show.
Yes.
We're going to have to get him on to talk about that kind of stuff. That's awesome. And he's doing over 100,000 a month right now, right?
I believe that's what they did last month, yes. Wait, hold on. We need to make an update. I just got off the phone with Mark. His monthly reoccurring revenue last month was actually $145,000.
One thing I liked about him too, the very first conversation, he was referred to us by another member, one of my favorite ones actually, Daniel. So the guy, he spoke on our stage twice at GSD Con, Daniel Neary.
Yeah.
So Daniel's the one that connected me with Mark Fisher. And so, but when I first met Mark, he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I went through the learnings, or I went to LRVT. I guess he had bought LRVT Plus or something like that as well, which for those of you that don't know, it stands for Loud Rumor Virtual Training. If you guys want to know more about it, you can go to loudrumor.com and you can, check it all out. But LRVT Plus is basically where he started. He started watching a lot of our stuff. And even though he's a guy that was, I think at that time, already doing close to, if not over 7 figures, he was watching and learning, which, here's the thing. A lot of people go, oh, well, of course he can watch and learn. He's already successful. No, he's successful because he watches and learns. So it doesn't matter how much money you're making. In fact, the more money you make, the more you probably want to learn. It's like the older you get, intelligence and wisdom and experience, all it does is unlock realized ignorance. Like the smarter you get, the more you realize you don't know, right?
Right, and it's funny we're talking, about all this money that he's making from the leads and how well he's doing, and so, it kind of feels like, oh, he has all the money to just, invest in advertising, and they just got something with their program that they're offering. It's a great program. But they are working their butts off. They are working their booties off, and they are. I mean, he said it to me right before we switched to that free offer. He said, "Hey, we just want more leads. I mean, we're happy with our lead flow right now. We're getting good leads. We're converting them, but we just want more cold leads. I mean, a cold lead's a cold lead. Let's just get the most leads."
Which is the exact opposite of what your non-favorite members are saying.
Yeah.
They're saying, these leads are cold. These leads aren't good. We need some hotter leads. We need people ready to buy.
Exactly. He does so much of my job for me. I don't have to talk to. He does the talking, which is something we should dive into is the calls and the conversations. But he will say, I know we need to work. We're going to be working. We're going to be training. We're going to be practicing. You just get us the leads.
Right. That is awesome.
Yeah.
And for those of you that haven't watched the other episodes of the GSD where I say it, there's no such thing as a quality lead, like a high quality or low quality. Quality, when a salesperson says the word quality and lead to me together, I can tell they're not in sales. There's no such thing as quality. It's qualified, yes, meaning, okay, if we only serve women like Lady Strong does, well then they're not qualified if it's a male.
Right.
That's not quality. Quality, I can't wait for one of the episodes. It's going to have to come after this one, McKenna, because I'm going to reference it. But the cold tub episode where I got my wife to jump in the cold tub, and you'll hear more about that. Reference that. Make sure we show it here on the screen. Can we show it right here? Okay. Because that really talks about how you take someone that is absolutely low quality in their interest in buying, right? Like not a buyer, not a prospect, zero interest whatsoever, to I'll take the biggest package you have. What's the most I can buy? It literally happened. And I'll show you how it happened in that podcast right here. Okay. So what Mark realizes is that, hey, just give me the cold leads. Because they're real people. And I've just got to find out what is it about them. Because if they filled out an offer to learn more, there is some quality there. And there is interest there. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, would you ever, right now, like what's something that you have no interest in? Like, do you have interest in like ballet, UFC? Like, what's like not interesting? You don't care about it.
Ballet is ballet. I don't care about ballet.
You don't care about ballet.
Sorry, Celeste, my manager.
It's okay. You don't care about ballet. So if you saw on your Facebook feed as you're scrolling through, hey, a free week of ballet classes, would you click on it?
No.
You wouldn't click on it. There's no way. So everyone that's going, oh, they're not really interested. Dude, then why did they fill it out?
Yeah. Well, maybe there was something in that ballet ad that I was going to benefit from. I don't know. Maybe ballet...
If it helps,
it's gonna get me the best butt ever. I don't know.
There you go.
Then maybe.
Because it talked to another need,
interested.
Right? And which goes to the last video we put up here, one of the last videos, which was you sell the sand, not the flight. You want to sell the results, not the workout. But at the end of the day, I personally have no interest in ballet. So if a ballet ad came across my feed, I probably wouldn't even notice it. The point is, if they're already in your inbox, if they're a lead, they have at least some interest because they were like, dude, I don't work out, I hate it. They're not clicking on it. It's not like, I hate working out, I'm not into it, but I'm going to fill out the form anyway.
Yeah.
Why? Why would you do it? It takes this long to get away from it.
Right.
So what Mark realizes and what a lot of the professionals realize is there's something there. My job as a salesperson is to identify what it is, where it comes from, and how do I pull it out of them so I can get them to work with us.
Exactly. And he said it, something really cool the other day. He said, we got their email address. Maybe they don't respond to us, but they'll fall in love with us eventually.
Yeah,
because
I like
that's
that.
how much they're following up and how personalized they make their follow-up.
Yeah, I like that. And he's been active in our Facebook group as well.
Yes.
So talk to me about that. So what did you notice right away when it came to him in the Facebook group?
Oh, I mean, he started using it immediately. Asked really, big and next level questions, not just, what kind of, I think any question is a good question. I'm not saying that, but he's really looking for people with the same mindset and to connect with, people who are on that level or who are performing at a higher level than him so he can get to that next level.
Yeah, and for everyone wondering, so when you join Loud Rumor, immediately get plugged into a Facebook group. There's 1,000 studios in there, and everyone in there is basically in there to learn from each other and gather information, share information. We share things like what we're talking about today. So Mark dove in right away and goes, here's a ton of people that do what I do and are wanting to be great. And so who are the ones that I can specifically learn from and get some stuff out of, which is the entire idea of why that group exists, right?
Exactly.
Lead forms. So talk to me a little bit about that, because there's some, I think there's more confusion than there is opinions on lead forms. So help me clear up what a lead form is and then what your thoughts are on lead forms.
Yeah, so a lead form, what a lead form is, it is a form right on Facebook. When you click on an ad, instead of taking you to a new URL, it just opens up right there on Facebook. You're still on Facebook.
Hold on really quick for everybody. So a new URL, meaning like take you to a landing page, take you to a website, take you off of Facebook into another place. Okay.
Yes.
Back in.
And you can fill out the form right there, submit your information. When you exit out, you're still on Facebook. And so Facebook likes to promote these a little bit more because Facebook wants to keep people on Facebook. The challenges that come up with some members are that they don't get as qualified leads from lead forms. And it is true. It's your information auto-populates in a lead form.
It's very easy.
Yeah, if you've ever filled out a lead form before, it auto-populates. So if it was a year ago you filled one out and now you're just filling one out again and you have the wrong phone number in there and you don't check that, it's going to submit, or the wrong email address. And so that's something that comes up, and that's something that some people can't get over, and they want to go back to a landing page. For Mark and a lot of other of some of my perfect members, I never hear about that from them.
Yeah.
I say, well, you have their first name and last name, reach out. No phone number, no problem. Go look at them up on Facebook or Instagram. Reach out to them that way. Or, do they have an email address? Keep in front of them through that avenue and ask for a phone number eventually. There are these other ways around that. So as soon as they see that and they understand that there are other ways to reach out than just the phone number or the email address, I don't ever hear about lead forms being a problem again.
Yeah, because what they look at is as a lead. And yeah, the phone number might be wrong, or the phone number's right, but the email might be wrong, or whatever it is. But a lead, if you think about like in the police world, detective world, a lead is not a step away from solving a case. A lead's a step towards solving a case. It's like your first step. We got a lead. What do you have? We have hair. Okay, great. Case dismissed. He did it. There's a lot more we still have to do, right? And so with a lead, in marketing, it's the same thing. The lead isn't like, okay, cool, we just got a name. It looks like we're about to get another member. No, it doesn't mean that. It means you're about to get to work now. And so if that phone number is wrong, like Mark does, he goes, okay, cool, let's do the email address. If the email is wrong, what's their name? Let's find them on Facebook.
Yeah.
I saw you filled it out, right?
Right.
So Mark basically goes, my job is to take all the leads and turn those into case closed. Like, we're getting these people signed up.
And with a lead form, we started out with a landing page, actually. We started out with their own landing page. It wasn't a ClickFunnels landing page made by myself. So we started out with theirs, and we didn't have great results. Now, we didn't know if it was because of, tracking, pixel installation, and all that. So I made a ClickFunnels landing page that looked almost identical to their landing pages they were using. We started using that. So now I could confirm tracking is working, but we're still just we're not hitting our lead gen goals. So by switching to a lead form, we cut cost per leads in half.
Wow, that's pretty good. So even if the qualification of those leads, because they're wrong, is 20% lower, you may feel like, oh, the other ones were better because 100% of them were at least good. Now it's like 20% of them are bad. But if you paid half of the price for it, well, paying half the price and getting 80% is still significantly better than paying, full price and getting half the leads, but all of them being qualified.
Right.
So I think it's just a matter of, I think people just have to really pay attention to their numbers. When you pay attention, and he's a numbers guy.
Yeah.
When you learn that. When he's a numbers guy. When you pay attention to the numbers don't lie, and all truth will come out in the numbers. With that, he's a numbers guy. So how are your calls structured?
So our calls are structured. I give myself 1 to 2 minutes to run through the metrics. I send them metrics ahead of time. Now, they're a little bit different because they're on so many different platforms that we can't build a dashboard for at the moment. So they have their dashboards made for Facebook and Instagram where they can track the metrics there. So I don't email those over. But I break down, Google Display and YouTube and Waze and all of that. So they have the metrics ahead of time. And now if there's...
Ahead of time meaning just before you guys get on the call?
Oh, yeah, right before our call. I'll send those over. And so then we hop on our call, and anything that needs to be talked about within those metrics, maybe we improved our results on YouTube this past week versus the week before. I will highlight that really quickly and just do quick highlights. If something's underperforming, maybe quickly highlight what I'm going to do to see that pick up. Things like that. So I don't spend long going through metrics. I'd say 1 minute to 2 minutes max if we're really going through a challenge.
Okay.
And then they do the rest of the talking and questions. They have, and they're not the only ones like this. People come prepared with questions, things they want to talk about. Paul David at Parisi, he every single call, I need to start allocating more or just talking to him more because we schedule 15 minutes and our calls go 30 minutes every single time
Really?
because he has so many ideas and so many things, to work on inside of his business. He wants to open up another location, so we're talking about that. We're planning future campaigns, and so they do most of the talking. Another thing that makes these calls so great is I can't say that Mark has ever missed a call. Paul's never missed his weekly call. I start associating these days of the week with people because they religiously make their calls, and we have great calls every time. For instance, Harry at Soldier Fit, he's been with us over, I think, 3 years. He's been working with me for, I think we're going on 2 years.
Okay.
Every Tuesday, we talk, and he has never missed a call.
Really? Wait, so you have people miss calls?
I mean,
How? Because as a joke, because I know it happens. I know you're wanting to be nice to the people listening that are your clients. How often do you have missed calls throughout a week?
It's 2 or 3 a week, which isn't
That's actually
bad.
not that bad.
It's really
That's
not bad, because when they start missing, I start saying, do we need to reschedule? It's not going to work. I mean,
Okay.
So I don't let that go on for too long. Any of these people that never miss their calls, they're texting me ahead of time asking to reschedule or letting me know that we need to reschedule. And so, I start relating these days to people. So Tuesdays are for Harry, Mondays are for Mark, Wednesdays are for Paul. And so I roll through these metrics so quickly because they have already invested their time into understanding the metrics.
Okay. So when you say we talk about like ideas and so how do you round up the call? So let's say we just finished, we talked about some of the ideas, things that we're going to move forward on, things that we're not going to move forward on. Okay, how does the call close, and then what do you do after? Do you send them a recap or anything? How does it work?
Right, so they're doing a lot of the talking. I am taking down notes of things I can follow up on, resources. So, you want to open an additional location. You're looking for, potential reach in this area of San Diego or Scottsdale. I'm going to follow up with you on the demographics in that area. I can simply look that up in Facebook at a 5-mile radius around this location you're looking at.
Okay.
I can reach out to Felicia and see what her opinion is on opening a personal training studio in Scottsdale. And I am following up on those items pretty quickly.
Last thing before we round up, we've got people that are obviously working with us just on the agency side, and then we've got people that are working with us with the agency side. And then they've also got the high-level coaching with like Matt, Corbin, Brittany, all those guys. Are you noticing a difference between people that have coaching versus those that don't? And what are you noticing?
Absolutely. Paul's one of those people. He's a platinum member. Platinum Paul. He is another level, and he's one of those people who didn't start out as a perfect member, but he was one of those people. He did follow you. He did watch you. He believed in marketing and the value it has, and he has grown and just taken the next step to get to where he's at this platinum member all in, and he's someone who has learned how to be a perfect member, because that can be learned.
Yeah, platinum, for everybody who knows, that's somebody that does agency and they do the high-level coaching. So people like Paul and other people that you have that are platinum members, they're doing the coaching and this agency. How does it help you on the agency side? Because that's where you play. How does it help you on the agency side to have them on the coaching side as a platinum member?
We don't have to because I have not worked in the fitness industry. I don't own a fitness gym. I never have. So the performance consultants that they're meeting with, they are running a gym currently. Brittany Welk is a gym owner. So they have the best recommendations and answers and advice for those concerns and questions. And I may be able to give recommendations based on what I'm hearing from other studios I work with. I can go to Brittany and ask and have a conversation, but
or Matt or Corbin.
Exactly. And there's this whole Facebook group too they could reach out to, and that's a lot of what I'm recommending when I'm hearing these challenges that people are going through. I say, make a post in the Facebook group. There are so many other people going through that same thing, and you know what? Half the people don't make a post in the Facebook group. Probably less than half.
Yeah.
And
a lot of times people just don't know what to ask.
Yeah.
I think that's why the coaching helps, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And even if you know what you don't know how to ask for the information, but a coach can draw that out of you. A coach can say, hey, so talk to me about your numbers. They talk about it and they go, sounds like your retention's real low. Talk to me about your strategy for retention. They start going into it and they go, okay, well, here are some areas of weakness here. This is why you're struggling with retention. Can we talk about these? Yeah. And now we dive in. Now this person doesn't have to think, what do they post in the group? Some people find it easy, but for this person, it's like, man, thank you. You just made everything easier for me. Now when they work with you, the cool thing is they find more value in your leads, because if they can get a member to stay for 30 months versus 4 months, well, they'll spend more money to get a member, because they know that, well, 30 months times $150 a month is way bigger than 4 months times $150 a month. That's only $600. I can't spend more than maybe $50 to $100 after, expenses to acquire that person. But if it's $4 grand, yeah, let's go ahead and spend what we spend $500 to get them if we need to.
Right, and if they're in a platinum member, speaking with Corbin or Brittany, and in this community of other people who are in Plus or Team, that allows me to spend more time with them strategizing their campaigns.
Right.
And strategizing pre-sale campaigns for their next location, and looking at that and really diving into more of what I am doing, the advertising for you.
Right. I love it. I love everything you're doing, Alexa. You've been here now, you said 3 years? Is it 3?
2.5 exactly.
2.5 exactly. That's awesome. And I've been asking you that question this entire time of who's your favorite member. Now I know, and now you know I have to ask it every time we talk, because I was conscious of it. But you're doing an excellent job. I know the people that you've had working with you, some have been working with you for the whole time you've been here, 2 years plus. And so thank you so much for sharing so much. I know you've got a lot on your plate. You're dying to go back and optimize and get on the calls with these guys and make their campaigns even more successful. But man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking the time with me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Yep. And then also for anybody here that wants to do a demo, you can go to loudrumor.com/demo. You just go to our website too. Also, we'll give you some free information on how to increase your referrals. So if you go to loudrumor.com/referral-script, it's a great script to be able to increase your referrals like a lot, drastically. So definitely go there. And then also, if you want to see one of the studios that worked really well, it was actually Harry's location that did extremely well. I can't remember how many members they got, but it was like 100% closing rate over the course of a month. I think it was like 30 plus members, something like that. Go to loudrumor.com/Brandon-play. I just gave you guys some free stuff there. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you leave us a review on the podcast as well. And we will see you next week. Check out my interview with Grant Cardone. There he is. We break down who has your money, how to provide them value, and the only way to really close a sale. And we'll see you over there.